Hey, now, can you hear me? Give me 1 second. Okay, yeah, I'm in computer too. Can you hear me? I'm talking. And you can hear me? Let me know when you. I'll keep talking. Talking. Hey, hello. Hi. Yeah, you have to go live. Yeah, and then you need to press on.
Can you hear me now? All right, I'm talking out loud, but it doesn't sound like you can hear me. I've got the live button, the on button on.
Okay, then let me change this real quick. Now talk.
Testing.
Yep, I got you.
Why can't I hear you now?
You can't hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, man, I can barely hear you guys. Hey. I was just going to talk to you through the computer. Pat? You could. Pat? What are you guys doing? Hello? Hey.
Did you bring me up, Pat?
Yeah, I can hear you, Phil. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Cool.
And now, Pat, you can't talk to him. I think the only way he can talk to you is by going on the live on air, right? Isn't that right? Well, you don't have to talk to Jared anyway. Now that you hear him and you got him connected, he's all good. He's good.
Yeah, and then it'll
talk to me.
And it'll be Corn bringing me in.
Yeah, I'll bring him. You just have him up on the air. He's got that background noise, so you keep him down until we bring him up on the air so that background noise doesn't overdrive us. Yes,
now,
I hear you.
Now ask Pat if I'm burping out or anything, or is my signal clear?
You're solid.
Sweet.
You're solid. Okay, take him down for a second, Pat. Take him down. Pull him down. There you go. Okay. Now, how are you talking to me right now?
I gotta switch to my radio show. I got like a half hour. I'm playing a tape interview. So okay. Do that in the radio. You can? All right. Yeah.
Right, you got it pushed up.
I spent 2 months in Salisbury.
Yeah, that should not go out over the air. Give yourself a little more so I can hear you clearly. Push it up a little more. You're closer into the microphone. Oh, much better. Much better. Yeah. No, not perfect. All right, now, I've got to send you my audio.
I was saying that exactly.
And let me go see my kids and everything. I'll get back to you. Hang on. Go ahead and talk to Jarmark.
Hey, Pat. Pat, you there?
That's definitely the next chance.
Patty P?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
But
Can
Jared, the only way when you can hear me, I can't hear you.
Put on the headphones. Did you hear that? Put on the
Okay,
headphones.
can you hear me right now?
Yeah, can you hear me? You'll only be able to hear me through the headphones.
Here.
He probably doesn't even know who I am. It's like that guy that your teacher you had a lot. He's like, who are you again? Oh yeah.
Hey, you'll only be able to hear me through the headphones.
No, he remembered me. Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, look at you. Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like this thing. You think even better tomorrow?
Right.
We have 90s, then it's 6:15. We'll go
To on.
6:30. We can go after outside.
No, you. Well, then take me out of queue, but you will be able to hear me in the headphones. Because when you turn your mic on, it shuts the monitors off, but you'll hear me in the headphones. Hey, what's going on? What? Really? Yeah.
So just meet someone at
Hey.
July.
Okay.
Mutual friend,
Give me 1 second. Okay, now say it. Yep. Huh. No.
Yes, now you can. Now you can hear me.
Yep. Okay, so now do that and then take me out of queue and put me live. Now let's start.
Okay, so now I can hear you. But during the actual show, I don't want to be on. I want to be off.
No, this is only for right now and during breaks.
Oh, so okay. I thought you were like co-hosting with them and you were going to be on for the whole show.
I am.
Okay.
I just won't be able to hear you.
Okay, but during the show, just to confirm, it'll be just. I mean, your computer too. I just have the computer 2 volume up, and you're live, correct?
Right.
So during commercial breaks, do I put you in queue or do I just leave you alone? Or
During commercial breaks, you just treat me like I'm in the room. You do exactly what you do for them.
okay, so I'll just do that. Okay.
Now, if you need to talk to me during a commercial break, you do exactly what we're doing now. Put us both live, and that's the only way we'll be able to communicate.
So what about if I do?
Can't hear you. Now I can. Now I can.
That's the only way you can hear me.
Right. That's the only way I can hear you.
Okay. So if I need to say anything to you, only during a break, of course, I'll press this.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
And actually, go for breaks. Go ahead and just keep me. So this is gonna be a thing. He wants you to keep me down until he says, "So Jared, tell us about this thing," and then pop me up. Treat me like a phone call.
Should I just do it like this and bring you up, or should I go ahead and have you off? You think?
Yeah, that'll work. Whatever you feel more comfortable with.
Okay. I just figured if I have you in queue. Actually, your background noise isn't too bad. I was thinking maybe there'd be a lot of background, but it doesn't really pick up through the queue.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, let's talk through the microphone.
Okay. Hey.
All right. Do you have Corn's audio yet?
Yeah, he stepped away. Oh, no, I don't. He said he was sending it my way, but he wanted to go say hello to his family first.
God dang it.
Yeah, so I'll probably get it at like 6:04. That's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. For the first segment, we're just going to banter.
Okay.
And then probably at 6:20, he's going to do Muschamp.
Okay.
And then we're going to do Sweeney. And then we're going to do recruiting. Then we'll probably do another just banter for the intro.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Bear with me a second. I'm writing all this down.
Okay. I'll send you the show file.
I mean, I've got a blank sheet in front of me. It's okay. So the first one, you're doing banter. Second segment, you're doing what?
Muschamp.
Okay.
And then third is Sweeney. Now, we're going to say we're going to do recruiting, but I imagine we'll do recruiting later in the show. But just go ahead and keep it recruiting there.
Okay.
But that'll probably float. Coming back, we'll probably do another intro, just like banter.
Okay.
And then let's do Jake Bentley.
Okay.
And then we're going to do Tyrone Crowder. And then we'll see what else Phil has. I've got another piece, but we'll see if Phil has another piece.
Okay. Got
Cool.
it covered. And so each of those audios, the Muschamp, the Dabo, the Bentley, the Crowder, that's all what Phil's going to send me?
I already sent you the Sweeney and the Crowder. I sent it to the Sports Talk one.
To the email?
Yeah, the Sports.
Yeah, I was on the email. Okay.
Yeah. So you go ahead and download those and just put them in Audition. They're going to be like, that whole segment is just going to be like me leading into that segment. And then we're just going to let it play. It's going to be like 7 minutes. So pretty much the whole segment is just going to be you running Audition.
Okay, perfect. So I'm downloading those. Just these are stupid questions, but I just want to confirm I have it all right. I'm downloading those 3 audio files from the first email. I'll go ahead and load those into Audition and just basically have them on cue and just play them like normal when he intros them.
Right. So Phil will be like, Jared's at the ACC conference and he spoke with Tyrone Crowdy. Jared, what was the scene at the ACC? And we're like, man, it was fun. The players love this thing. They just kind of go around dressed real fancy and they talk to everyone. A couple of them were snacking, guzzling down water. Tyrone Crowder said that he's ready to bring and raise the new baby quarterback, and he says it's his job to be a parent. And then, boom, you play the cut.
Sounds great. Okay. Now, what about for the opening segment, for the intro, the 2 cuts we usually do? Is that what I'm waiting on from him, or is there anything specific?
And see, that's where he actually I'll go send you a Muschamp one.
Okay. So exciting. So these 3 you sent me, one of them is for the ACC commissioner. Is that going to be played at some point, or is that just
that's one of mine. We can play it if we want.
Okay.
All right, take care, Dabo.
Man, did he actually personally said bye to you?
Yeah, that was him just walking by. He came up to the table to say goodbye.
I love Jared.
Yeah. I didn't even realize he was there until he started talking to me.
Must not know you're a bulldog.
I've never told him. Whoa. Oh man, so
Uh-oh, I lost you. Can you hear me? I just lost your audio. There. Oh, now you're burping. Testing. Wave at the camera if you can hear me. Okay, so you can hear me. I cannot hear you. I can't hear you in Q either.
There. Am I back?
That's weird. I can hear you coming from the other room, but not in.
Huh.
I can hear you somewhere in the studio right now, but not. Hey, there you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's weird.
No, I accident. So the mute button on this microphone is in like the worst spot. And so if I pick up to move the mic, it shuts it off. So
was that the one K-Mac took home with him? That was his at home?
no, this one's mine. But it is the same. It's the same mic. Like the same brand, but this one I stole from Minnesota. All right.
Phil, are you there?
Ooh, you scared me.
Okay, so Jared, when I bring you up, I can no longer hear. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can. Okay, so I guess there's not a way to hear both of you at the same time.
Corn and I?
Oh, wait, never mind. Yeah, I can. If I put him live, okay, I had him in queue. But y'all, so I can hear both of you at the same time, but you both can't hear me at the same time.
I guess so.
Phil, can you hear me right now? Okay, so I don't think he can hear me. Well, no, he must. He said he heard something I said. Maybe he can. I don't know. Whatever. Either way, gotcha. He was sending over the audio right now.
Oh, really? Oh, we're going to have fun tonight.
It's SportsTalkSC@gmail.com.
Yeah.
SportsTalkSC Live.
SportsTalkSC Live, right? SportsTalkSC Live@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
And now, whatever you're doing, I can hear both of you, Pat.
Can you hear me, Phil? Yeah. Okay, good. So right now, everybody, all right, so we can all hear each other.
Yeah. SportsTalkSC Live@gmail.com.
Correct.
USC audio will be the subject line.
Okay.
I need a vacation. Oh, I got one coming up.
Hey, well deserved, Bill. I hope you have fun.
Plan to.
Yeah.
All right, and I got the other cut for you.
Okay.
Sending it now.
Okay, they're on your way. On their way.
So, Jared, Dabo 2 you sent, you titled it for intro or on the subject line. You want me to use that?
Yeah, Dabo 2 is for the intro. And can you hear it when I play stuff off of my computer?
Give it a try real fast.
Did you hear any of that?
No.
Cool. I'm going to cut audio during the show.
Stay focused. Everybody must stay focused. Darren Horn.
Darren Horn, haven't heard that name in a while.
The Peach Jam is going on. There's a picture of Horn sitting next to Kevin Durant, sitting next to Shaka Smart. Oh, wow. Hey, Drummer.
Yes, sir.
Now, besides the Clemson people, who else did you interview?
Bobby Petrino
Okay.
and Eric Dungy, the quarterback at Syracuse.
Okay. How about DeAndre Francois?
Nope, they did not get me him.
How'd you do as far as getting people who were on your list?
Got everybody but Wilkins. No, Wilkins and Adazio.
Hey, don't be alarmed. I'm going to sound check the intro real quick.
Okay.
Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Here's your host, Phil Kornblue.
And then, as I said, I think this will be the best offensive line.
Because we were sitting here talking, and we were all talking, and we were talking,
Group, but I think to lead the way. We'll be a team that's led in the trenches, for sure.
70% of our roster.
Make sure your levels are good. Is the pro in the studio tonight? Well, hey, Jarmar.
Yeah.
One thing you can do, if you haven't done it, that I did, you got your camera phone, is take a picture of the Clemson media guide, tweet that, take a picture of the depth chart inside there and tweet that.
All right.
And also take a picture of the numerical roster and tweet that. That's what I did for USC. Just so they
I'll go take a picture of the national championship trophy too.
Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Here's your host, Phil Kornblue.
And then, as I said, I think this will be the best offensive line I've had ever at Clemson going in my 15th season. So, really, really good group that I think will lead the way. We'll be a team that's led in the trenches, for sure.
70% of our roster is still freshmen and sophomores. We only have 11 students.
Very good.
Where did it go?
Did y'all hear any of that I just said? I don't think I had the button pressed. Can you hear me?
I didn't hear it, no.
Okay, sorry. Check the audio with Learfield. I think I've got everything ready. Y'all both sound great.
Yeah.
All that's left is to actually embed the link from the Google Plus, but I was waiting till right before so nobody can hear us.
Okay. Excellent.
That was a good call, Jared.
Nope, I'm back. I heard y'all.
Oh, I just saw your message. Okay.
For a second, I thought the show started, and I was like, where'd the music go?
Uh-oh.
But yeah, anyway. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.
I love your size.
Ella dismissed a message.
Bill, Jared, do you usually play the audio like for the different coaches we have on computer 1 or 2 in Adobe?
I usually play it out of 1.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Let's see how the website looks. The website was loaded with stuff today, boy. Clemson glass overfloweth.
He just sat down. That was the first thing he's talked to me. He was just like, everything's great. Everything's amazing. Our team's just as good as last year. And so I was trying to make a joke about how Dabo Swinney also always looks at things as if they're like a cup half full / a cup that's always overflowing.
Is overfloweth a word?
I think it's a
Dabo word, a Daboism.
It's a Jaredism, at least.
Jaredism.
By the way, Pat, I need to get with you about Tuesday. Dabo's doing something. I'll give you the details, but he's doing something in advance.
Okay.
Oh, that also reminds me of something else. Well, we'll talk after the show. I want to see. I need somebody to help me on Sunday for a little bit.
By the way, so this, I was going to the audio. I've got it all loaded in Adobe. I just noticed the Dabo is called Dabo Raw. Does that need to be cleaned up, or it looks good to go?
No, that's good to go.
Okay.
You got everything I sent you?
Yes.
Okay. So let's keep him turned down, or at least pulled down a little bit, because the background noise, unless that background noise drops out, eases up. High school sports report.
Phil, would you prefer? I have two options. One, I leave him in queue with the volume up so I can still hear him, or I just bring his volume down and leave him live. Then I can't hear him. Never mind. That's obvious. I'll do the queue. Never mind. Once I heard it out loud, I realized that was obvious.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, bro.
I'm embarrassed to be sitting there.
All right, that's from studio. Take it, bro.
Well, now we brought it up with the conversation. Leads me to go.
Hello, hello.
Test.
Hey, bro.
Y'all can hear him clearly?
Yes, indeed.
So, I'm gonna get everything straight except. I'm gonna try something.
Oh yeah. Now he probably. Are you pushing the Q button, the talkback button? I don't think the talkback feeds the Hangout. I don't think it feeds that way.
I didn't hear anything if you just talked to me.
You don't have to worry about him hearing. It's just me.
Right.
Yeah. Pull him down, and we'll bring him up. So we're going to talk around. We're going to spend the first segment talking around the three of us. Pro, don't break in. We'll bring you in. Right now, I don't think I have any that I could tell. If it starts to delay, I'll drop and reconnect. Incident. Hi, Phil. Updated your title. I've had a title update. Title. Title change. What title change?
Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Here's your host, Phil Kornblue.
And then, as I said, I think this will be the best offensive line I've had ever at Clemson going in my 15th season. So, really, really good group that I think will lead the way. We'll be a team that's led in the trenches, for sure.
70% of our roster is still freshmen and sophomores. We only have 11 seniors. 19 first-time starters last year on last year's team and 7 true freshmen, which those two stats tie for the most in the country. But I was extremely proud of that football team.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome back into Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. A day full of talking by the Gamecocks and the Tigers. Separated by several hundred miles, USC in Hoover, Alabama for the final day of SEC Media Days. The Clemson Tigers in Charlotte, North Carolina for the first of 2 days of the ACC kickoff. You heard from Dabo Swinney, and yes, he loves his offensive line. He's got to have something to really love, and now it's the offensive line. And, you know, even though he lost his starting center, and even though he lost a tackle last year at midseason, who was a starter, replaced him with a true freshman who came on and did pretty well. He feels like it could be the best offensive line he's ever had at Clemson. Will Muschamp was the hit of the week, I think, at SEC Media Days. He was loose. He was lighthearted. He was cracking jokes. He got the people to laugh inside the big room, which nobody else was able to do. I think that's a sign of his feeling comfortable. Enjoying who he is now and being comfortable in his own skin, in his own surroundings, knowing his roster better, knowing his team better, and just feeling like they've got a chance this year to take it another step up. And so we're going to hear – we got a lot of stuff for you tonight. We've got, of course, Muschamp and Swinney, plus interviews with Jake Bentley and Hayden Hurst from the USC side, and Clemson offensive guard Tyrone Crowder as well. Let's bring in Jared Rogers-Martin, who has been in Charlotte all day with the Tigers covering the ACC kickoff. And what do you think, your first exposure to the ACC kickoff in Charlotte? What's your take on it?
Well, let me tell you, it looks beautiful out here. I'm sitting right across the escalator overlooking the national championship and the Heisman Trophy. So I'd say this is pretty prime real estate for the first ACC media day that I've been to.
Yeah. You got a chance to talk to other people besides the Tigers. Who else did you rub elbows with?
You know, I rubbed elbows with Bobby Petrino today, which I think I earned a media badge today. I interviewed someone who blocked me on Twitter, which is a first for my career, so that's always an exciting thing. But I also got to talk to Tyrone Crowder, and I had a brief brush in with Christian Wilkins, but we didn't get anything recorded. And you know, talk to also Eric Dungett, the quarterback at Syracuse, and he had some good things to say about Dino Babers coming into his own in his second season at Syracuse. So he had a lot of optimism going into the season for what they've done in the spring ball and summer practice.
So what was the sense around the interview areas today in talking about the teams? And, you know, you got Clemson, the national champions, reading some of the stuff. I mean, the Tigers don't feel like they're going to back up at all. They're going to be right there in the hunt. Then you've got Florida State. People think they're going to be the team. You've got Louisville with the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. You've got on the other side an improving Miami and and improving, already strong and maybe improving North Carolina. What's the sense around there about the team to beat for the league championship?
Well, let me tell you, no matter if you walked around here just to go get a Coke or to just take in the scene, every single table would pepper in the word Clemson. So I don't care if you're a radio station, out in Syracuse or you're out there in Louisville, every table is asking everybody about Clemson. That has just seemed to be the theme of the weekend. You had people like Bobby Petrino that whenever you asked those questions, didn't get uncomfortable, but you could say that there was a chip on his shoulder. He's tired of losing in the last quarter 3 years in a row. He has not had a win against Clemson. They're 0-3. And you could see that he's fed up. And now that they have that national championship, he wants it even more. He wants that first win to be next season.
All right, from an SEC Media Day standpoint, we had 3 final coaches come through today. It was Muschamp, it was Gus Malzahn, and it was Hugh Freeze. Freeze did the expected. He had a statement that he read about the NCAA investigation and then said he couldn't take any questions about it. He did an extended opening monologue that ran, including the statement about the NCAA. He then proceeded to talk about almost every position on his team and every coach. So he went about 18 minutes. I think he was trying to eat up as much time as possible to avoid having to discuss the NCAA. And then when they did open it up for questions, every question was about the NCAA or his program and the impact of the investigation, the impact on his future and stuff like that. Nobody asked a single question about the team and the season. So that's how that went for him. As for Will Muschamp, we'll hear from him coming up after the break. A couple of things of note. Practice is going to start July 31st. Originally, we were told July 27th. It will be July 31st. Players report on the 30th. So personally, for me, very good news. And then all the players are healthy. All the players are academically eligible, talking about the veterans. The 3 signees who have not yet been cleared, he expects them to be cleared in time to report at the end of the month. We'll have more from Muschamp coming up after the break. Now, sitting back and taking this all in, like listening to the Tower of Babel, Professor Tom Hayes. So what do you take from the end of SEC Media Day and the beginning of the ACC kickoff?
Well, the interesting thing is I think the Atlantic Coast Conference wants to tell everybody we're here and we've got the big fat trophies. So they're sticking their chest out, and you hear some whistling, we're the best conference now because we have more threats to the conference title, whereas you guys over there only have Alabama, and nobody seems to can beat them. But our Ogre beat your big guy last year, and so they're gonna show all that trophy as much as they can. As far as Will Muschamp being loose, he was loose, Corn, because he looked over sitting next to him, and it was Hugh Freeze, and he said, "You're Hugh Freeze, and I'm not," and I'm glad because and then again, it tells Gamecock fans this. They're building slowly. This is what happens when you build slowly. Some fans get a little bit fed up. They can't wait. Why not recruiting better? Then you look at the guy sitting next to him and say, well, here's what happens when you take shortcuts. You may win a few ball games, but now, look, they're in the stew.
Yeah, exactly right. And I tell you, the more I'm around Muschamp and listening to him, the more I am convinced that he is, without question, the right man for the job at South Carolina and will get it done. Just little by little, piece by piece, the things that he is doing, and you'll hear this coming up in our conversation with him. But, for example, he had players out at his house yesterday to have some fun and frolic in the lake, and for a couple of reasons, not just for the players to build more of the relationship with themselves and to build a relationship with him, but as he put it, he wanted the players to see him in a different light, not as a football coach, not as somebody barking at him on the practice field all the time. He wanted the players who were there to see him as a husband, as a father, and what he is like away from football. And so I think that's a very, very smart move on his part to take advantage of of what he has out of the lake, and he uses that for recruiting. He uses that for the players to come out. And that tells me that he is in for South Carolina for the long run and is interested in building a long-standing program from the roots up, which should be great news for South Carolina fans. And the win, I think you just have to be patient. Come. All right, when we come back, we'll hear from Muschamp, and we'll hear from Sweeney and more. This Thursday edition of Sports Talk from the ATL on my way back to the COLA, and also from Charlotte and Columbia. Back in a moment.
Well, I think it's,
Alabama produced us back around the David Butler on the site. Jalen Samuel will join us after my 5. The Swiss Army. Every morning at 8:30, Westgate Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram brings you tickets out to Mike to next week for a giveaway.
let's get right to Will Muschamp. He met with South Carolina media today upstairs before going into the big room. He was asked about having the luxury for a change of having an established quarterback ready to go for this coming season.
Obviously, Jake's the season that he had and continuing to improve in the fall. But what I've been most proud of is his off-season program as far as how he progressed, spring practice and now into the summer, and continues to take the next steps. And a lot of it has to be with understanding what it takes to be a quarterback, and he certainly understands that.
What did he provide this offense? Went from 14 points to about 27.
Well, I think as much as anything, we practice all of the guys in the bottom half of our roster on Sunday nights hard. And I saw a guy that made tremendous strides from August to October. And that's why we decided to give him an opportunity. He played outstanding football for us. He made good decisions with the ball, took the ball to the right people. Obviously, getting Deebo Samuel back healthy and Brian Edwards back healthy helped as well. But a guy that understands our system and what we want to do, how we want to do it, and continues to learn and work on what he's got to do to be successful.
Does this have the potential to be the best offense you've had as a head coach?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we need to progress and continue to progress. The thing that I like about these guys is there's a lot of knowns coming back and a lot of competition. Competition normally breeds consistency in performance. And when you've got guys that are competing for playing time and they understand every single day they've got to come to practice and perform at a very high level, you're going to get the best out of your guys every day. So certainly I think that we've got some talented guys in the skill position. We need to continue to improve on the offensive line. But it starts at the quarterback position, and I feel good about Jake.
Would it be gratifying to you as a guy known for building defenses to show you can have a high-powered offense as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're not trying to score. I mean, it's kind of comical, some of the stuff that I hear, but it is what it is. I don't worry about it. Most of the people that are being critical of you, I don't know if a football is stuffed or blown. So that's what I think.
Well, the incoming freshmen, who do you expect to make an immediate impact, particularly on defense?
Well, I really don't know. I think that I'll know more. I've already scripted our first 11 practices. We're going to have a scrimmage on practice 11 in the stadium. And, that's going to be D-Day for a lot of guys, especially those young guys that are moving forward. Because on defense right now, for me, it's the who and the what. Who do we need to continue to develop and coach, and what can they handle? And we'll know a lot more then. I wouldn't be remiss to go out on a limb to say anybody right now. But certainly there's going to be some young guys helping us. There's no doubt.
What does Sky Moore bring back to this defense? The new people in charge of the new defense, but what does he bring just having his presence of leading half the 3 years they play?
Well, experience, leadership, speed, athleticism, instinctive, and tough. Those would be the words that first come to mind. The young man has been through a tremendous year, as far as a year and a half, I guess now, of adversity, of battling through the injury, battling through coaching change, battling through whether or not to want to come out to the NFL. And I think he made 2 very mature decisions to come back to South Carolina. He had a really good offseason and a very good spring, and probably the best summer he's had since he's been at South Carolina.
Looks like you had some of your players over to your house.
Yeah.
Some recreation and all that. But what does that do for bonding? And you learn anything about players in that kind of setting?
I don't know that I learn anything about them. I think they learn a lot more about me. I think it's really important for our players to see me as a husband and as a father, and in a different setting than as being the head coach at South Carolina. And I try to provide that as many times as we can, whether it's an occasional meal at a restaurant in Columbia or it's coming out to my house. I think it's really, really important for those guys to see that.
Well, you talk about learning. What's the biggest difference for you as you get ready to start your second season now as USC's head coach?
Well, I think more than anything, you just understanding your roster a little bit better and the players on your team. I'm extremely proud of the team we had last year. You're 2-4 going in the open week, and our guys continued to trust. Trust is a choice in life, and they continued to believe in us as a staff and believe in what we're trying to do, and we stayed hard on them. It wasn't easy, and we there's no doubt you could see the improvement from game one as we move through the season. That's what I'm most proud of. But as far as knowing going into the season, a little bit more about our players and who they are.
From a coaching standpoint, you look last year coming to your second year. What were some of the biggest takeaways you took, not only as a coach, but as a team that you want to apply this year?
Well, we need to be more physical on both lines of scrimmage, and we were not as physical as we needed to be. We did not run the ball well against teams that we need to beat, and we did not stop the run against teams we need to beat. So that's where it all starts for me as far as the offseason program is concerned, of getting stronger. I think we've made some gains in the weight room that I'm pleased with, but they need to transfer to the field.
Are there any players who missed the start of practice because of injuries?
We're healthy right now.
Academics?
No, we're good.
Getting to the quarterback, top priority. You lose your number one.
I'm all for it.
I mean, where do you find that? I guess with losing the 2 DNs along.
Well, I think, losing Darius, what a fantastic year he had, and I think he ended up with 9 sacks, and he was 4th in our league. But I think we've got to utilize Bryson Allen Williams more as a pass rusher. He's a guy that's got natural pass rush ability. Continue to bring the guys along. Dennis Wallen's done some really nice things for us. I think he's a guy that certainly can give us some rush. For us to play well defensively this year, and I'm going to put pressure on 3 guys, Dante Sawyer, York Jones, and Taylor Stallworth. Those 3 guys need to play really well for us because we've got to improve up front, and those 3 guys are seniors, and they're certainly capable. But for us to play well defensively, they need to play well.
Will, do you expect the SEC East to be significantly better all around this year?
Well, I think that I always kind of look at the quarterback position, and obviously I believe everybody in our division is returning a starting quarterback. And so except for Tennessee. So I think that, that's where it starts for me as far as the calming factor of being able to go win on the road. A lot goes back to that position.
We'll talk about Eric, what he brings to the table.
Yeah. Eric's done a really nice job. I think that number one, our offensive linemen, in my opinion, have done a fantastic job of understanding the things we needed to gain as far as strength is concerned in the weight room. So they've embraced that. But moving Zach Bailey to right tackle, I think is going to be beneficial for us. And I think more than anything, Corey, we've got more competition across the board, inside and in both tackle positions. And that brings consistency and performance. So guys know they've got to go out every day and compete to keep their job. And I think that's helped us as much as anything. But Eric is a really good football coach. He's been a head coach before. He's been in a lot of different systems. It's exciting his input to our offense.
Coach, you talk about inexperience. Who are some of those leaders on both sides of the ball that you're looking to step up as vocal leaders?
Well, 3 of them are with me today: Jake Bentley, Hayden Hurst, and Debo Samuel. I like the core of offensive linemen of Corey Helms and Alan Knott, those guys and their leadership abilities. Defensively, obviously, Sky Moore, Bryson Allen Williams, and the 3 defensive linemen I talked about. Chris Lamons and DJ Smith have done a nice job in the secondary as far as trying to get some of the younger guys ready to go. So again, those are the guys we're going to have to link.
Well, has Hayden emerged as a leader on this team?
He's the first sophomore in school history to be voted a permanent team captain by his teammates. That's pretty impressive. He's got a tremendous work ethic, and I think his growth from year 1 as a tight end to year 2 will be tremendous. Just the knowledge of the game. What's that?
He's a little older.
He's good. There's no question. I think riding on a bus in the minor leagues helps you too. I was asking him about that on the trip up here today on the plane. Just how was it? It wasn't Major League Baseball. I can assure you of that. But those things you go through in life, you mature and you learn. He'll be 24 in August. So, but there's no question that maturity helps the season.
You mentioned Sky and Bryson. Just what have you seen from TJ Brunson in the linebacker?
Well, TJ is a guy that needs to take the next step, and I think he's certainly capable. I thought he did some really good things as a true freshman, and then this is the improvement from year 1 to year 2. Normally is the most, in my opinion, as a coach, and for the most part, not all the time. But I really expected him to take the next step and have that responsibility to be the Mike linebacker at South Carolina.
How do you assess the running back position? Would you like to see a guy emerge as kind of a go-to guy, or could you go through the whole season with 3 guys kind of rotating in?
I'd be fine with what we have. At the end of the day, I think that obviously Rico and AJ as freshmen did a really nice job last year. Tyson Williams is a young man that we're excited about, the transfer that had to sit out last season. And then, Mon Denson's done some nice things. So I think we have good quality players at the position.
All right, that's Will Muschamp. We'll be right back here on Sports Talk.
I know the clip selection was different. Yeah, I could tell. So I was like, it's not yeah, so that's actually there we go. See, that's all right.
Took a pay cut to go from Alabama to the NFL.
Which Alabama player didn't?
Played with them earlier, I think the Patriots have announced a lot of issues they had.
They have no clue who the teams were back then.
Try to go for safety there.
How about Warren Collins in 1 second? Whiteford and Sons. This is going to be a 90-yard. Maybe I can run it back. Look at my leading rusher. 16%. Joe, thank you for bringing this up. Appreciate it.
It continues tonight. That was just the warm up.
Oh, no, I already got a notch in my finger. Technical, serious.
It's going to come to life again.
Yes.
All right, so what time do we have to hit Jalen's zeros by? Plus, we have to report to close. So we have to stay here.
Very busy Thursday here on Sports Talk. Phil Kornblut in Atlanta, Jared Rogers Martin in Charlotte, Professor Tom Hayes and Patrick Daniel at our studios in Columbia. So we heard from Muschamp, more from the Gamecocks to come. Let's go to Charlotte to Jarmart, and you had the chance to do one of the first interviews for the new football season with the defending national champion head coach.
You know, I might have even had the very first interview today. I got the special order from Tim Beret to get in early before Dabo Swinney had to go do other things. But let me tell you, he was high on his team. We talk always about how Dabo Swinney will never say anything wrong about his team, but he absolutely believes that another championship is coming his way.
We've just gone about our business like we always have. We start over, we evaluate, we try to get better. We learn from our mistakes. We try to take the things that we did well and see how we can continue to do those things well. You go recruit. You got new people, new faces. You got a lot of guys that were maybe on the team last year, but now they have new roles on the team. And so there's just always this change that's going on, and I embrace that. So I like where we are, and it's been a good summer. We're anxious to get back at it and really just try to same thing we're always trying to do, trying to win the opener. We want to win our division. We want to try to win our state championship, win the ACC, and win the last game, win the closer. That's really what we focus on. No different.
No different. Now, you had said one of the, you embrace the change every year, and this is the fourth time with Clemson where you've had to do a QB without 2 games of starting experience. Yeah. So you've had a little bit of experience in doing that. What are you looking for in your evaluations of your guys like Hunter Johnson and Kelly Bryant?
Yeah, well, Kelly's came out of the spring as the starter, so he'll go into fall camp as the starter. We obviously haven't been on the field with those guys since April, so I'm really excited to kind of see where they are. I know they worked hard this summer. And then Hunter and Zarek. Chase Bryce just got there this summer. He's another one jumping in the mix, Tucker Israel. So, we've got a really good group. And, the biggest thing for us is we just go practice. We manage the reps. We'll rep 3 groups, all the way through. We'll at some point cut it down. Okay, we're gonna rep 2 and get ready to play, and the third guy won't get as many reps. But you do the best you can. You evaluate everything, you grade everything. You just want to see the guy that makes the best decisions, the most consistent, plays with poise, that demonstrates a great understanding of the system. And we don't really need a guy to be Superman. We don't need a guy to be Deshaun. We need a guy to emerge and be the best version of himself, and just execute properly. Whether it's in the run game and the decisions there, or put the ball where it's supposed to be in the passing game. And the good news is I think we got some really, really talented players and very good candidates. So it'll play itself out. And, hopefully somebody separates, and that's what everybody would love to see. But I have no idea how it's going to play out. But I'm going to be at practice every day. And like I said, we're going to hold them accountable. We're going to challenge them. We're going to put them in every situation that you can think of to try to prepare them. And then you go play the games. And if somebody wins the job, Kelly, if he holds on to the job and he's the number 1 guy, well, then you get into the season, then it's not a lifetime contract. You got to perform when you've got a high level of competition at a position, and we certainly have that. So I think the competition's going to be good, and then that whoever it is, they've got a great surrounding cast around them. This is going to be an outstanding offensive line. We got good skill and some good experience at each position to help them out.
How much are you looking between the offensive line and the quarterback, kind of getting on the same page?
This is going to be a very deep and talented and dynamic offensive line. We lost 1 player in Jay Guillermo, but Justin Falcinelli is going to be a 4th-year junior. He's got a lot of experience. He's a guy we're really excited about. He got a good spring. And then we played 3 true freshmen last year: John Simpson, Sean Pollard, and Tremaine Ankle. And so they all got very good experience in big-time games. And so now you've got those guys all becoming sophomores to go along with the fact that everybody else is back. So it's going to be a deep group and a versatile group. We'll be able to play a lot of guys, and I think that bodes well for us.
Yeah. Now, with Williams and Scott, that's 2,000 yards, almost 2,000 yards that you've lost with just those 2 players. The next 6 people on your roster coming back have about 2,000.
We've got a really good group back. I mean, Deion Kane he's a great player. We were able to. It's just kind of how we've always done things. We've always had 2 or 3 guys that really at every position. We've recruited well there, and it was Mike Williams and Deion. The year before that, it was Sharon Peak and Deion because Mike was out. So Deion is primed, I think, to have an unbelievable junior year. I'm really excited about Travion Thompson and his improvement. Ray McLeod is a great football player that I think is had some inconsistency at times. He's battled some injuries, but don't sleep on Ray McLeod. Now, this is a very, very gifted football player that I think has by far his best football in front of him. Cornell Powell played as a true freshman last year. One of the highest recruited guys we've had, and he is as advertised. He's a great player. Kind of played last year, but was behind Artavis and Ray, and now it's opportunity for him to really play a lot more. Obviously, Hunter's coming back. We signed a couple of really big-time freshmen, Amari Rogers and T. Higgins. Those guys coming in. DeAndre Overton was another young guy that got a little experience last year. So we've got, a lot of good players, and it just like at quarterback, we're going to have great competition, and that makes everybody better.
With so many people leaving on offense, do you change your approach as you come in trying to win another national championship? Do you maybe shift the balance of your team a little bit and how you lean on experience?
Well, I mean, we really didn't have many seniors last year at all, but the guys we lost were really significant players. Obviously, Mike, Deshaun, Jay, Jordan Leggett, Wayne Gallman, Artavis. Those were guys that played a lot of snaps for us. But we've got pretty good experience. We just don't have the like at tight end. We're excited about Mylan and the guys that we have there, but they've kind of been in the shadows of Jordan. But now it's their time, and there's a sense of urgency that comes with that from those guys that really excites me. Our offense is very flexible and versatile. We're 7 years into our system, and everybody understands what we're doing. We kind of go as that O-line goes, but we'll just assess what we do best, and we tailor our attack each and every week to our strengths, and we've done that every year. But that's really not something I think you can just predetermine today. I think you got to get out there and you got to kind of see how things respond, and you get into some games and you start to develop an identity, and then you go from there.
All right, and then finally here, we don't get to see practices as much as you do. What should we know coming into the season?
I mean, I think we got a good football team coming back. I mean, I think that we're a team that can compete for this league. Again, everybody focuses on what we don't have, what we lost. And I focus on what we do have. And we've got a lot of guys coming. We only got 6 seniors, but we got 27 scholarship juniors, and I think 21 or 2 scholarship sophomores. And those guys have played in a lot of games. They've got a lot of experience, winning experience, and they know what it takes. So they'll do a great job of kind of bringing those other guys along where we're trying to fill in spots. And I think we've got a chance to be a good football team. Defensively, I think we could be better if we can stay healthy. And then, as I said, I think this will be the best offensive line I've had ever at Clemson going in my 15th season. So really, really good group that I think will lead the way. We'll be a team that's led in the trenches for sure.
That is Dabo Sweeney, and we'll be back in a moment.
Can you hear me, Pat? Patty P.
All of the liners have been read. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Sunday's great. So there's 1 people here. They all lead. I spoke to them. Professor Nicholas play guest speaker. Oh, I don't do that.
Coach, you won't listen to like your class. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna take your laptop.
I would take your laptop.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even worried anymore because I thought like someone had this stuff and was halfway there. So, sure.
It's all right. A lot of.
So that's why we're changing that.
My wife no idea how long. You know, very So are you heading back to Fayetteville tomorrow night? Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go?
Are you going to take this with you?
Okay, that's good. I know. I'm sorry.
Go fast in your rooms. Oh, you guys in the same room? And why would you be the new guy? How do we not be staying with you? A woman in Chandler buying a house.
What I do.
$300 a house.
All right, welcome back into Sports Talk. In just a moment, we'll hear from USC quarterback Jake Bentley. Clemson put out their media guide today, and inside of it, the preseason depth chart. So here's what it looks like for the Tigers. Nothing appears to be out of order from the spring. Left tackle on offense is Mitch Hyatt, backed up by Tremaine Ankrum. Taylor Hearns, the left guard, backed up by John Simpson. Justin Falcinelli at center, backed up by Gage Cervenka. The right guard is Tyrone Crowder, who we'll hear from later, backed up by Maverick Morris. The right tackle, Sean Pollard or Tremaine Ankrum. The tight end, Mylan Richard, DJ Greenlee, Cannon Smith. One receiver, Deion Kane, backed up by Travion Thompson and DeAndre Overton. Another receiver, slot receiver, Hunter Renfro, backed up by TJ Chase. Other receiver, Ray McLeod, backed up by Cornell Powell. Quarterback is Kelly Bryant, backed up by Zarek Cooper or Hunter Johnson. The running back is C.J. Fuller, backed up by Adam Choice and Tavian Feaster. On the defense, defensive end is Cleveland Farrell, backed up by Chris Register. Defensive tackle is Dexter Lawrence, backed up by Niles Pinckney or Jabril Robinson. Defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, backed up by Albert Huggins. Defensive end Austin Bryant, backed up by Xavier Kelly. They are so deep and talented up front, it's ridiculous. The strong linebacker is Dorian O'Daniel, backed up by Jalen Williams. The Mike is Trey Lamar or Chad Smith, backed up by Judah Davis. The Will is Kendall Joseph, backed up by J.D. Davis or Jamie Skowski or Shaq Smith. One corner is Ryan Carter, backed up by Trayvon Mullen or Kayvon Wallace. Strong safety is Tanner Muse, backed up by Isaiah Simmons. Free safety is Van Smith, backed up by Denzel Johnson. And the nickel back is Ryan Carter when they're in that formation with Isaiah Simmons and Kayvon Wallace. And the other corner is Marcus Edmond, backed up by Mark Fields or Amir Trapp. Greg Hugel is the kicker. Will Spires is the punter. Austin Spence is the long snapper. Hunter Renfro is the holder. There you go. I don't see my kick returners on here. Jarmart's picture kind of, I guess, must have cut them off. Doesn't matter. We'll figure it out before the season gets here. That's a look at the preseason depth chart for the Tigers. And, I think the biggest question marks going into the season, obviously quarterback number one. Number two, who's going to emerge as the ball carrier? Who's going to be the workhorse in that backfield? Interesting that Feaster is your number 3 running back pro. This is a kid out of high school that was on everybody's All-American lists, and great things were expected. Hasn't happened for him yet. That light has not gone on for him for whatever reason.
Well, I said before, I think he would be great in the slot. Get him the football. It doesn't have to be running back. He really caught a lot of passes in high school. And I think probably with a guy like that who's got the build of a running back and the wiggle of someone smaller, and you can get him out in space quickly and give him the football, I think that would be the best thing for Clemson's offense early on. But, you're reading that depth chart, and that will show you where the strength of, a lasting football team, lasting success. And people can talk about, quarterback and all the other skill positions all they want. But if you have strong lines of scrimmage, case in point, what other team but Alabama could have taken a true freshman quarterback and get to the national championship game? Why? Because they had those big hogs in front of it, protecting it. So the same with Clemson here. I don't think who the quarterback is. If that offensive line can stay, intact, and you got that defensive front, and they go 2-3 deep on that defensive front, Clemson is still going to be dangerous because of their lines of scrimmage.
Yeah, good point. However, that quarterback in Alabama is pretty special. Now, Clemson may have a special quarterback in there, too. We just don't know yet. We'll find out pretty soon, probably by week number 2. Now, back to USC. Will Muschamp said something interesting today that I don't think had been revealed, and that is when the Gamecocks had the Sunday after the Georgia loss, it was their off week, and he was pondering what to do at 2-4 and how to turn the season around, and he talked with the coaches about inserting Jake Bentley or opening up the quarterback job with Jake Bentley getting a shot. What he did was he called Ray Tanner, not from a boss standpoint, talking to him as Tanner is his boss, but from a coaching standpoint, and floated by him the idea of putting in Bentley, removing the red shirt, a guy just out of who should have been in high school, very young, still learning everything. Obviously, Tanner said, hey, that's a good idea, go for it, and they did, and of course the rest has become history. So Bentley was walking around today as one of the kingpins of Media Day, and we asked him what it felt like to be the guy in the spotlight at SEC Media Day.
It's all right. I've never seen so many cameras in my life, but it's great to be out here and just represent South Carolina and do it. Hayden and Debo, just hang out with them.
How do you feel about what people are saying about your team this year and the fact that South Carolina could be a surprise team in the East?
We hear all of it. But at the end of the day, we just got to work hard, take care of us. We got to execute our game plan and, get bigger and stronger and faster in the weight room. So that's what we're doing right now. And just, we'll take every game one at a time.
You seem to be kind of accepting all the leadership role and the high expectations of you and kind of been that guy in the offseason to kind of pull everybody along?
Yeah, it's been – it's been a learning experience. I've had to learn a lot through his leadership role, and it's really helped me grow as a person and as a quarterback. But, a lot of guys are starting to buy in, and it's been great to see. Really working hard, and I may be more vocal, but there's a lot of guys that lead by example. Hayden, I mean, he's always in the weight room, and guys know that. So guys don't want to let him down, and so they're always working just as hard as he is.
What have you focused on to improve the fundamentals of you as a quarterback here in the offseason?
The biggest thing for me has been protections. A lot of the sacks that we gave up last year wasn't on the offensive line. It's on the quarterbacks, and we didn't get the ball out faster, or we didn't do this and that. So just learning the ins and outs of our protections and learning how to get in and out, and what's the best protection for this blitz or anything like that.
How comfortable do you feel now with the playbook and the entire offense, and being able to go out and change plays and set those protections, maybe some things you couldn't do last year?
I'm definitely more comfortable. Me and Coach Sims, our GA, we've really, I think we've watched every game from last year at least 10 times. So just really broken down every game, and, what we could have done better, what didn't work, what we did good. Just really broke down everything, and just a learning experience for us.
Are you at the point where the game is kind of slowing down for you a little bit?
Yeah, you could say that, but there's always so much more to learn. I mean, there's always more to learn about a defense. There's more to learn about our own offense. So just constantly trying to improve in any area I can.
What do you think this offense can do this season with you knowing the full playbook, knowing the full offense, and then the complementary players you have around you?
Definitely we have the weapons to be very, very impressive. Outside, Hayden, Debo, Brian, KC, all those guys have really stepped up their game this offseason.
All right, there you go. Jake Bentley, USC quarterback. One prediction I will make right now, Pro, and I think I will be correct in making this prediction. Debo Samuel will catch more than one touchdown pass this season. Last season he had one touchdown receiving. I think he had several others, maybe 4 or 5 others rushing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to catch more than one touchdown pass this season. Simply because he needs to.
I really do think, though, one of those running plays should have been a reception for a touchdown, because it was just a flip to him forward.
Yeah. All right, we got to hit a break here at the top of the hour. Much more coverage of the SEC, ACC talking days here on Sports Talk.
Hey! Y'all can hear me?
You need to take him down.
So, Jason, you want to meet downstairs, 10 minutes?
Mute.
Okay.
Should I mute myself?
Tell me when you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Oh, okay. All right, coming down. Coming down in 3, 2, 1. Offensive lineman Jerome Carvin of Cordova, Tennessee, visited USC for the spring game. He continues through his recruiting process, and he plans another visit with the Gamecocks. USC is one of his top schools right now, and he is in regular contact with Eric Wolford and Bobby Bentley. Defensive back Stephen Gilmore Jr. of South Point has a Final Four of USC, Georgia, Louisville, and North Carolina. He'll announce on September 17th. He says the fact his brother, Stephen Gilmore, Stephon Gilmore. Crap. Let's try it again. In 3, 2, 1. Offensive lineman Jerome Carvin of Cordova, Tennessee, visited USC for the spring game. He remains in regular contact with the Gamecocks. He's also looking at Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Memphis, Michigan, Mississippi State, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Yeah, let me do that one more time because he has a shorter list than that. One more time. In 3, 2, 1. USC remains in regular contact with offensive lineman Jerome Carvin of Cordova, Tennessee. He visited USC for the spring game. He's also looking at Alabama, Tennessee, Michigan, Michigan State, Auburn, and Memphis. Defensive back Stephen Gilmore Jr. of South Point will announce on September 17th. He's down to USC, Georgia, Louisville, and North Carolina. He says the fact that his brother, NFL stand take it again. In 3, 2, 1. Offensive lineman Jerome Carvin of Cordova, Tennessee is in regular contact. I'm running on mush. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Offensive lineman Jerome Carvin of Cordova, Tennessee, continues to hear regularly from USC, and the Gamecocks are one of his favorites with Alabama, Tennessee, Michigan, Michigan State, Auburn, and Memphis. He visited USC back for the spring game, and he's going to try and visit again sometime this millennium. When are those? Upcoming weeks. Oh, upcoming weeks. Okay. One more time. This is going to be the wiener. In 3, 2, 1. Offensive lineman Jerome Carvin of Cordova, Tennessee, visited USC for its spring game, and he plans a return visit to USC soon. The Gamecocks are on his short list with Alabama, Tennessee, Michigan, Michigan State, Auburn, and Memphis. Defensive back Stephen Gilmore Jr. of South Point has his Final Four, USC, Georgia, Louisville, North Carolina, and an announcement date of September 17th. He says the fact his brother, Stephon Gilmore, played for the Gamecocks will have no impact on his decision. Clemson's keeping in touch with offensive lineman Gavin Orr of Gadsden, Alabama. The Tigers have not yet offered, but they continue to show interest in case they miss on some others. Linebacker Dax Holyfield out of Shelby, North Carolina, plans to visit USC on July 21st. Phil Kornblut, South Carolina, Radio Network Sports. Told you, we get it. Make sure the time is good. I feel like it is. We'll come back and we'll do recruiting, and then okay. And ask Jarmart, does he have – you got Tyrone Crowder? Okay. You think you lost a feed, or he walked away? Yeah, he's there. He's just muted.
I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ST Open 2, Pat. And he has Crowder.
Got Crowder. You have anybody else that you that we're doing from your end, or is it Crowder the last one?
That's the last one that I have. I've got Swafford on what Dabazzini told the ACC, but I didn't know if you wanted to play that.
Yeah. Why don't we play that in this segment after I do recruiting? We'll talk about that.
Yeah, okay.
I might get some Gus Malzahn ready since we may have some time for that.
to make a better showing going forward.
Okay. I got some things we'll talk about.
Okay.
Don't stop now. More sports talk is on its way. Listen to the final word in sports all across the state with your host, Phil Kornblut.
We are back. It's hour number 2 of Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on a Thursday night. We thank you for being with us wherever you are dialed in around the great state of South Carolina. Tell you what, after being 2 states away, having to suffer through a drive through Georgia, and then spend 4 days again in Alabama, it makes you appreciate the great Palmetto State. And Jarmar, you're in that godforsaken state of North Carolina. Do you know which bathroom to use while you're there in Charlotte? You got that figured out? Everything's okay on the bathroom front?
No, I've just been going in and out. Whatever one I find, I just go. I figured that's just what common practice is. And so when in Rome, you just do that. So I'm not sure if I should start wearing a dress though or not. So I'm still working that one out.
And the PO guys or modified.
Well, that's good. That's good. Coming up, we're going to hear from John Swafford, who had something interesting to say about Clemson. So we'll bring that to you in a little bit. And also, we're going to hear from the Tigers' standout guard, Tyrone Crowder, who's a very old man. I mean, Tyrone has been around the Clemson program, it seems like, for 10 years, and he has been a mainstay at that right guard position. He has been just one of those guys you never hear from. He's not a guy who's interviewed a heck of a lot. He doesn't say a whole heck of a lot, just goes out and does his job game in and game out. We'll hear from him. And we'll also hear from the Gamecocks' Hayden Hurst, who, of course, has become a very popular guy, probably is going to be on a first team, all SEC preseason team here coming out, which reminds me to remind you that normally today, the last day of SEC Media Days, every year that I've covered it, they've had the prediction, the preseason ballot, and the preseason team announced today, but they're doing it tomorrow this year. So look for that tomorrow. And I guess, Jarmart, the All-ACC team and the preseason ballot from there will come out tomorrow as well?
That they will.
Yeah. Have you filled out your ballot yet?
I have not. I wanted to talk to everyone, look deep into everybody's eye and make my judgments on any last decisions. So I'll get on that, might even do it while I listen to you do recruiting, Corn.
Yeah. So, based on your conversations today and what you have gathered, what's your Atlantic Division going to look like on your ballot?
Ooh, corn. Let me put all my notes together first, and then we'll go. But I'll say,
come on, have the guts to say it. Don't be shy. Don't run. Have the guts to say it.
It's the have the guts to say it, but it's also have the guts to put a formulated opinion. I don't want to say things just to say that, and I want to be able to defend this.
What's happened to you? Let me tell you what's happened to you. I'm going to tell you what's happened to you. What's happened to you happens to a lot of people who talk to Dabo for the first time, and you're not used to it. You've been Daboed. You sat there and you listened to him all day, and you did the nice interview. He gives you nice long answers, and so you want to vote Clemson number 1. I know that's what you want to do, and you're trying to convince yourself not to. You've been Daboed.
Is that's what happened? I guess we did say on the show that they were never going to lose another game, and I'm starting to think that maybe that's true.
Lose that one game to Pittsburgh.
All right. We want an Atlantic. You want me to shape up an Atlantic right here?
You think Clemson's you're gonna put Clemson down #1 for the Atlantic?
I think I might not. I think I will put Florida State. I see a lot of people on Clemson's offense that there's a big hole. I mean, they mentioned today that's 75% of their offense. I was talking to Dabo Sweeney earlier, like we heard in the recording, and they lost 2,000 yards from wide receivers alone. The next 6 people that are still on the roster, the next 6 people combined, have those 2,000 yards. So that's a lot of yards you need to put up. There's huge questions on running back, like you said. Feaster's 3rd on the depth chart, and he is supposed to be a guy that we were looking at last year to make an impact. And I mean, those are some concerns. Although, you can't really know anything until we get that QB. And when we get back to the Tyrone Crowder, we'll go into there. He breaks down those QBs early, and he gives a good list on all of their skills. And I think that more than anything may shape up how I feel where Clemson is in the Atlantic.
All right, very good. Recruiting now. We begin with offensive lineman Jerome Carvin, Cordova, Tennessee. He visited USC for the spring game in April, continues his recruiting process. He's planning another visit with the Gamecocks. USC is one of his top schools. He says he's looking to take more visits in upcoming weeks. He's going to try to get back to South Carolina soon. Also, Alabama is going to try to get to Michigan and Memphis, which is right down the street. USC offensive line coach Eric Wolford, recruiter Bobby Bentley continue to work him. Says he hears from the Gamecocks about every day. USC has invited him to their prospect party on July 22nd. He'll go if he can, and he's not sure he can at this point. He's planning to commit around the end of July or early August. He's not yet shortened his list, but he said he's looking the hardest at USC, Alabama, Tennessee, Michigan, Michigan State, Auburn, Memphis. Meantime, defensive back Stephen Gilmore Jr. of South Point, who narrowed his list to USC, Georgia, Louisville, and North Carolina, and has a commitment date of September 17th, he plans a round of visits to all of his finalists before making his decision. At this point, he doesn't have a favorite. He says he feels like there's a good opportunity at each of the schools that he is considering. He does acknowledge that USC is the home state team. He likes the coaches, and they're turning things around. He did say that the fact that his brother, Stephon, played for the Gamecocks, that will not be an advantage for USC. He says his brother has told him to do what he wants to do, what's best for him. And he said all the schools are recruiting him the same. Clemson's keeping in touch with offensive lineman Gavin Orr of Gadsden, Alabama, just in case some other offensive line targets higher on the board don't commit to the Tigers. And Orr is fine with that. He's in touch with Robbie Caldwell, who's been up front with him and told him to be patient. He's going to do that. He wants to wait and see if an offer from Clemson will fall his way. Of his offers, his favorites are Troy, UAB, Army, Middle Tennessee, Samford, and Harvard, plus interest from Southern Miss and Wake Forest. Shelby, North Carolina linebacker Dax Holyfield told 24/7 Sports he'll visit USC July 21, Virginia Tech the next day, July 22nd. He's been to both before. He'll also take an official to Florida State for the Miami game, and he wants to go to Virginia Tech for the Clemson game. So those three, along with North Carolina and Stanford, remain under heavy consideration. 2020 offensive lineman Gavin Howes of Santa Clara, California, visited Clemson on Wednesday and USC on Saturday while in the state. Basketball. Zion Williamson told the state newspaper today there is an AAU tournament going on in Spartanburg, and he told the paper today that he might move up his announcement plans. He was going to wait until the spring. Now he's saying that he might do something before his season so he can get the decision behind him. He scored 31 points in the Adidas Gauntlet AAU game that he was playing in today. He says he's still looking at a lot of schools, and he's probably not going to make a list. He's just going to pick a school, he said, when it feels right. USC and Clemson still high on his list. USC coach Frank Martin and assistant Perry Clark, as well as Clemson coach Brad Brownell, were at the game today. Williamson said he probably will take officials to Kansas, UCLA, and Arizona because they're farther away. No dates in mind. Kentucky coach John Calipari also was at today's game with more than 30 coaches. North Carolina, Duke are also in the mix. Williamson said that he hears from USC and Clemson via text every day. They are recruiting him hard. He said the Final Four run by USC was great for South Carolina, but he says at the end I'll have to look at what players are at the school for my position and the coaching style. All right, very good. That's from the state. GoGamecocks.com. 6'6" Aaron Neesmith of Porter Gaud picked up offers from Texas A&M and UMass. That's it for recruiting. Check it out on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and on Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting. We'll be back in a moment.
Can y'all hear me? Hello.
Yep. He can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. As a matter of just being a thorn in somebody's thigh, I was thinking about putting a wide receiver from Georgia Tech on the awards ballot. Just the wonderful world of the triple option and being a wide receiver. You have to want to be a wide receiver in a triple option offense.
Wide receivers in the NFL before Megatron retired with Georgia Tech wide receivers.
Yeah. How crazy is that? Why can't I hear him anymore?
Me? Chris Anderson.
Busy night here on Sports Talk. We thank you for being with us. And we're going to continue with our coverage of the Talking Thursday by USC and Clemson. Back to Charlotte, ACC football kickoff. Now, today, Jarmart, it was all the Atlantic Division coaches and the coaches from the Coastal. They'll be in tomorrow.
Yeah, this was all Atlantic today. I'm getting some feedback. It was a good shoot. It was a good discussion here. All of that. What's going on?
Okay, you get that figured out. Man. You get that figured out real quick, and we'll get back to you. Jarmart over in Charlotte for the ACC kickoff. I was in Hoover the last 4 days for the SEC football media days, which may be moving elsewhere next year. Talk of Atlanta, talk of Nashville, talk of Dallas. But from Charlotte, Jarmart had a chance to talk with one of Clemson's standout offensive linemen. You heard Dabo Sweeney say that he thinks this offensive line of his could be the best they've ever had. Hyatt, 6'5", 295. Hearn, 6'5", 325. Falcinelli, 6'4", 315. Crowder, 6'2", 340. Pollard, 6'5", 315. Or Ankrum, 6'2", 290. So they got some great size, Jarmart. You had a chance to talk with Tyrone Crowder, the grad student at right guard.
I did, and Tyrone Crowder did not allow a sack last year. So it was something he said that had never happened in his career before, and he gave all the credit to the other guys around him. He said that the offensive line group is very, very tight. They play intramural ultimate frisbee together, and he said they look forward to bringing Falcinelli in, but he was most proud of that no sack season last year.
As offensive line, you never want to get the quarterback hit. So, I mean, and you don't want to hear once they're on the sideline, you hear your coaches yelling at you. So, but I mean, it's a great feeling, just knowing that my hard work has paid off and technique-wise, his pinches and details. So, it's been a solid offensive lineman. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Deshaun appreciates it. So,
how many seasons in your life have you done a whole season without a sack?
That might be my first one, but I have other ones just like one or two, but nothing like extreme. But I think it was my first one.
Congratulations on that first big goal. So much of the offensive line is about grouping together. Y'all got 4 returning starters this year. Do you expect to just keep that gel going, and do y'all have a close group?
Yeah, as offensive line, you got to have a close group because I agree. We always around each other. We do things together. Like now, after workouts, after football's over, we do ultimate frisbee in the real league. So we always just trying to build that camaraderie, trying to build that relationship. And Justin, he's doing a great job of taking that role. And even not Justin, even the guy behind him, like Gage, they're all competing this summer and just working hard trying to get this spot.
Yeah. I mean, y'all are going to go through a quarterback transition this year without Deshaun Watson. What's it like trying to get into a groove with a new quarterback?
Yeah, obviously, Deshaun is a different caliber player. It's hard to replace him. But you don't want to so we're not putting the same expectations on them. Just we're letting them, do what they do. Just, come in, just be a vocal guy and, just have more confidence. So, this offseason, I've been seeing them work hard. Like Kelly, Zarek, and Hunter, like this spring, they all had a great spring. And I'm looking forward to the fall camp and seeing them compete for that spot.
Yeah, can you tell differences between the different quarterbacks behind you?
I mean, you could it's not really say like game plan wise. Obviously, each quarterback has their own little flavor, like style of flavor. Like Kelly's, he's a dynamic runner, so you might see some more runs in there here and there. But Zarek is, I haven't really played with Zarek in the game, but just learning the practices, I can, he brings a lot different. He can more throwing wise. Hunter, he's a freshman, but I've seen him do it all. He's just still learning the offense, but all of them bring a lot of different styles to the game. So I mean, whoever ultimately wins that spot, I'm confident that they're going to compete and give their best.
Yeah. So Hunter, I mean, he just came onto campus pretty recently, and you're saying you've seen a lot from him. Just what's his game like?
It's like in the spring, just like I've seen, like obviously. I had no idea that he's a great runner, but I see him take off in the pocket and some quarterback runs. like he's very explosive. I didn't really know too much about him, like him coming out of high school. I'm like, I didn't know who this guy was. So I mean, I just he competes. I mean, he's a natural competitor. And I see it. Then one day I saw him in the film rooms by himself. I mean, so I mean, he wants to win. He wants to put himself in the best position. So I mean, you got to give him that extra effort to put yourself in the best position to win.
So you go against one of the best defenses every day in practice. How does that build you as a player, and do you think that that's a selling point as you go on with your career in football?
I mean, yeah. I mean, our defense is the best in the country, and there's no doubt about it. And just going against those guys is making us way better because going to get like Dexter Lawrence, a freak athlete, and just being able to do the things he does is unbelievable. And like he's probably the hardest one, like toughest one to block. And then Christian, he can line up inside and outside. He brings a little versatility to his game, and just you got to pay attention. You got to see your P's and Q's, and just going against guys every day when it's time to play the game, I feel like it's so much slower. And I mean, preparing like I said earlier, I didn't give up any sacks. I'm kind of used to. I know what to expect from high caliber guys, and I pick up on the different things.
Now, y'all got to put a national championship behind you and then go into this season. What are your expectations for that, and how do you put that behind you and just start afresh in a new year?
I mean, it's kind of hard to put it behind you because you got some guys who, but you just have to. But Coach Sweeney, he talks about every day. You have that win-streak mentality. Just what's in front of you right now. And Coach Bass, he's working us hard, making sure we don't stay complacent. He's making sure we're getting better and better and better, and build that mental focus. But it's kind of hard too because you want to pick up from the things that got you there so you can get back there. But so I mean, you gotta just have that win-streak mentality.
What is your goal? What are you really trying to work on as you wrap up at Clemson?
For me, I just want to just stepping onto this role as to become a vocal leader. Like Jay Germer had that role last year, and for me, I'm kind of like a laid-back guy. I'm kind of quiet, kind of lead by example. I'm just trying to be more a vocal leader this year, and just kind of take these young guys under my wing, and just take a lot of pressure. As offensive line, we want to take a lot of pressure off the quarterbacks and just let them go out there and play.
And do you see it's your responsibility or just the line's responsibility to raise this new quarterback?
Man, I think so. You want to make the game transition a lot more better, like faster for them, better for them. And we got a younger quarterback with less experience. You don't want them to have to worry about these guys in my face right there. So you just want to worry about what's out there and getting the ball to the receivers and running backs like that. So I feel like it's a big responsibility, and it's our responsibility to help those guys transition.
And you said you were in an ultimate Frisbee league, intramural league?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like to stay active on my weekends and my free time. So yeah, I do either do intramural basketball, but right now in the summer we're doing ultimate Frisbee. So yeah, we're doing pretty good right now. We're 2-0.
Wait, what's it like? I mean, this is just regular Clemson players or Clemson people, right?
Yeah, so it's like ultimate. It's kind of co-ed, but during the summer it don't really matter because there's not a lot of people there, so everybody play together. But yeah, you just go against normal students, and they see us and oh god, but little they know they're like we're terrible, but we're doing pretty good. We've been we just want to have fun, really. Just to have fun.
Now, has anyone run around you? Got skinny little kids who played ultimate Frisbee their whole life, and y'all are playing a completely different sport over in football.
I mean, yeah, there's some real athletes out there that not in sports. Some guys actually just all they do is throw ultimate Frisbee, and yeah, you occasionally see some real athletes out there.
All right, great stuff with Jarmart and Tyrone Crowder. I think you two have bonded and made a lifelong friendship there. That's the most I've ever heard from Tyrone Crowder. Great job. We'll be back in a moment.
That wasn't so bad. Yeah, he actually gave some good stuff on the quarterbacks. Hello. It's me.
Welcome back into Sports Talk, everybody. South Carolina Radio Network. Phil Kornblut, Professor Tom Hayes, Jarmart, Jared Rogers Martin, and Pat Daniel. Couple of notes to pass along to you. Coming up, we're going to hear from USC tight end Hayden Hurst. But a couple of things I want to update. First of all, we got some more watch list information. USC Sky Moore is on the Bronco Nagurski watch list announced today, which shows great respect for him, considering he missed all of last season with the neck injury. But they remember what he did 2 years ago and what he has done throughout his career at South Carolina. Also on that list from Clemson are Dexter Lawrence and Christian Wilkins. And on the Outland Trophy watch list, Tyrone Crowder, Mitch Hyatt, Lawrence, and Wilkins. Chuck Jordan, the Conway football coach. The Myrtle Beach Sun News reporting today that Conway High School is going to have an interim coach to open up football practice. It's going to be offensive coordinator Carlton Terry, actually being identified as acting head football coach while the situation with Jordan is sorted out. This could mean an extended stay away from practice and games for Chuck Jordan. Terry has been on the Conway staff since '93. And let's see if there's anything else I want to mention here about this story. Yeah, he'll serve in this position as Jordan fights charges of third-degree assault and battery stemming from an on-campus incident in late May between him, 17-year-old Cabrian Hickman, and a substitute teacher. According to an arrest warrant issued by the Conway police and obtained last month by the Sun News, Jordan is alleged to have, quote, unlawfully and without just cause, placed his hand on the student's neck and shoulder area. End of the quote. For his role in the incident, Hickman faces a charge of disturbing schools. Jordan is on administrative leave with pay. The next docket of jury trials for Conway Municipal Court has not been set. High school practice begins on July 28th. I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is, and I'm talking here just from afar. I've seen the video, but this is just my opinion on this thing. This is where we are today. I mean, here is a guy, a football coach, a teacher, an instructor, an enforcer, a man who helps enforces the rules around the school, has been at Conway the better part of his entire life, and he is dragged into this situation for just doing his job, from what I can tell. And I'm telling you, I'm offering this. I haven't talked to anybody down there. I've only wished Coach Jordan well. He has not shared any information with me or his opinion, or not the attorneys, not anybody else. I've just seen the video and I've read the stories that have been in the Sun News, and I'm just offering my own long-distance opinion here. But this is, to me, this is sort of why public education, the breakdown of discipline in schools, it's where it is today, because teachers and administrators, coaches, their hands are so tied that they can't do a darn thing to make sure that children behave in school. And this is one of the reasons why. I mean, teachers are at the point now where it's like, burn the damn school down then. We can't touch you. You know, you want to act up and be crazy, we can't do a darn thing, so just burn the school down. I mean, that's kind of where it's gotten this day and age. And it is an absolute sin that a man as good as Chuck Jordan, I've never heard anybody say a negative word about Chuck Jordan. Well, maybe some opposing football coaches. I mean, I think he's had his run-in with football coaches on the field, but that's another story. I've never heard anybody around the Conway, Myrtle Beach area ever say a negative thing, not his players. And now there's this to tarnish his career, an illustrious career that it has been. It just sickens me. It sickens me. And to be dragged into court, to be forced to step away from school, to be forced to step away from your team, it's despicable. And it's, you know, it's where we are today in public education. I tell you that. And it's bad. It's just bad. Anyway, that's my editorial on that. I hate to see it for Chuck. What else do I want to mention? The ESPYs last night. Anybody watch? Pro, did you watch?
Crickets.
John Mart, did you watch the ESPYs last night, or were you out drinking heavily?
I was out researching heavily for the ACC conference and listening to the cicadas like Tom.
Well, you probably want to mention Jared Cook's play.
Well, I was going to say Deshaun Watson won an ESPY for best male college athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I never watched the ESPYs, and I never mentioned them, but I'm doing it because we had some local flavor. He also was nominated for best championship performance, but that went to Kevin Durant. Clemson's football team and USC's women's basketball team were among the nominees for best team. That went to the Warriors. Clemson was nominated for the best upset category, but that went to Mississippi State's women's team. So
absolutely so.
There's that. Yeah, there's that. Tyler Webb, the former Gamecock lefty, who had gotten off to a really good start with the Yankees in his brief appearances, he was traded today to the Brewers. So he'll go into the bullpen with the Brewers, and the Yankees are going to get a heavy-hitting first baseman. Their first baseman situation has been a revolving door all season because Greg Bird just cannot get healthy. Garrett Cooper is who the Yankees picked up. He's batting .366, 17 homers, 82 RBIs in 75 games this season. So the Yankees drafted Webb in the 10th round in 2013, finally brought him up, looked good, but they need help at first base, I guess, more than they need help from the left side on the mound. Florida State coach Jimbo Fisher today said that junior defensive back Marcus Lewis is transferring. Played in 8 games last season, started 5. And let's see. I don't think we mentioned this. This came in last night. First-year USC baseball coach Mark Kingston has hired as his director of player personnel Trip Couch, who had been at the University of Houston. 7 seasons with the Cougars, recruiting coordinator, coached the outfield and catchers. And so he'll join the USC staff. Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball reporting that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also announced, I think, yesterday officially that Blake Cooper, the former USC pitcher, is now the pitching coach at the Citadel.
Well, Corn, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that you mentioned the ESPYs and didn't know, and you didn't mention that the player of the year was Aaron Rodgers' tightrope throw to Jared Cook on the sideline against Dallas.
You know what? Like I said, I was only paying attention to the local stuff, but I'm happy for that. That's good. I guess Jared Cook would be a local, but he's no longer a Packer, so I don't care.
Yeah, I understand that. Y'all jettison him.
He is no longer a Packer, so I'm kind of sad about that move, to be honest with you, because when he was healthy, he was a great down the field target, and he made some great catches. Now, the Packers picked up from the Patriots Marcellus Bennett. No, Patriots or Bears? Martellus Bennett.
He's on the Patriots.
Wasn't he with the Bears at one time?
He used to be, yeah.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. So that's a good pickup, but I don't know that he is athletic and has the hands that Jared Cook has. Okay, there you go with some notes I wanted to pass along to you. We will come back and hear from Hayden Hurst, and also squeeze in a phone call or two. 800-956-7266 is our phone number, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Hayden Hurst in just a moment. I think we had a caller holding as we hit the break, Pat. If the caller's still there, we can hit that up very quickly. And I'm trying to remember the name, if you want to tell me the name. Oh, John in Rock Hill. Okay, John, welcome in. How are you?
Doing? How you guys doing? Just a quick,
good.
thank you for all of the beat.
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Yeah. A couple of days ago, I heard y'all talking to a guy about, when the situation when Mark Richt was kind of ousted from Georgia. And for me, that brought up when the whole situation with Spurrier. And I heard something like a few weeks ago that maybe we're thinking about honoring him this upcoming season. And I'm just thinking, like, why in the world would you honor a guy that just quit on the program? So, I just shouldn't honor a guy that quit on our program like he did.
Yeah. All right, thanks. I think that the good outweighed the bad. It ended poorly for him at South Carolina, and the program struggled last year as a result, but it's on the rebound now, and I think that most people at USC and most clear-minded people appreciate what Spurrier did for him. He brought him a lot of notoriety. He made South Carolina football a cool place to play, which was his goal. He won a division. He beat Clemson 5 years in a row, 11 wins 3 years in a row, won 4 bowl games in a row. I think all of that outweighs the way it ended. No, he could have ended it better, I think. I mean, I understand his thinking. His thinking was he's done. He doesn't have it anymore. Why drag it out? And people can hold that against him for quitting on his team. I understand that. But then again, you can look at it, too, as him taking one for the team and getting out of the way and letting Ray Tanner get his search underway earlier, letting some new blood do things. But the end result was they did let their recruiting down over the last year and a half or so, and now it pinched the team in 2016, and Muschamp and his people have been working diligently to rebuild it, and they're on their way to doing that. So I don't think anybody – look, they've already honored him by naming the indoor practice facility after him. And I think if they want to do something else to honor him at a game, why not, He did some great things while he was at South Carolina. I don't think that should be forgotten about simply because of how everything ended. All right, thank you for your phone call. One more interview from the SEC Media Days. It's with USC tight end Hayden Hurst, who is looking to have a big year. He caught about 45 passes last year. Big-bodied guy, great athlete, 24 years old, or spent a couple of years in the Pirates minor league organization before realizing he was not going to make it in professional baseball. We caught up with him today to talk about the buzz around the Gamecock program and how some people are saying this South Carolina team will be one to watch.
I've seen some of the stuff that people are saying, but You know, we try not to focus too much on the outside noise. You know, we try to keep everything internal, and we just, you know, keep getting after it every day. You know, that's kind of the motto. You know, take it day by day. You know, with effort, toughness, and discipline. I mean, we're going to be all right September 2nd.
How would you describe the off-season work, the intensity, the commitment to getting better in the off-season?
The commitment to getting better started right after the bowl game. You know, we had probably about a week off, and then winter workouts was an absolute grind. And then Coach gave us May off, and then we came back summer one. I mean, we've been getting after it every single day. There's been no let up. It's been full throttle since right after the bowl game.
You work closely with Jake Bentley. He was limited last year because he came late, took over midseason, probably didn't know the whole playbook and all the checks and everything. How will he be different from the standpoint of complete knowledge of everything offensively going into this season?
You know, with Jake, you don't really have to worry about the physical traits as much. I mean, I think we all know he's got those. And I think the thing where he kind of expanded his game was mentally. You know, he got in there with Coach Roper and Sims, our GA, and he's been watching film for hours every single day. And for him being able to study the game and take his game to the next level as far as coverages and rotations and seeing where guys are going to be and expecting where to put the football, that's been huge for him.
The bowl game, the offensive explosion in the bowl game against South Florida, was that kind of a glimpse of what you guys can look like offensively this year?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're hoping for. And we hope that's just a little, you know, glimpse of what we're capable of doing here in the fall. I think the other thing that kind of did for us was confidence. You know, we can see when we're committed and we're flowing what we're capable of doing. And I think that's just going to be huge for us come September.
And how about you? How about how you have emerged? I mean, you look around the SEC in terms of tight ends, so you maybe a kind of that hybrid guy, but I mean, you're as good as any tight end going into this season and probably will receive some preseason all SEC accolades.
I appreciate that. Like I said, I mean, I try to be as quiet as possible. You know, having all this, you know, be invited to media day and first team SEC. I mean, it's extremely humbling. You know, I never would have even fathomed this happening 3 years ago when I stepped foot on campus. But you know, having everybody say these nice things about me is just humbling. And I mean, I couldn't be more appreciative of it.
All right, Hayden Hurst, who we spoke with today at SEC Media Days, and that will conclude our coverage of SEC Media Days. If you missed anything, it's all on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, all the coaches, plus our interviews today with the USC people. Jarmar will have more coverage of the ACC kickoff tomorrow with the Coastal Division guys. He should be back in Columbia for that. They'll wrap it up early in the afternoon. He'll have time to get back into Columbia. Pro will be off tomorrow night. I will be off tomorrow night. Our guest host tomorrow night, I'm not sure if the state of South Carolina can handle this, Teddy Hefner and Rick Sanford. Teddy Hefner and Rick Sanford will be in our studio, will be in our chairs, will be talking into our microphones. You're in for a treat. Of course, many of you remember Teddy from his years with us on Sports Talk. Many of you remember Rick for his years as an All-American high school player in Rock Hill, All-American player at USC, and a standout with the New England Patriots. Of course, the two of them do a morning show in Columbia, and they're kind enough to fill in for us tomorrow night. So you're in for a treat, Jarmark, and you'll get to deal with Teddy Hefner firsthand. That in and of itself is an experience.
You know, I look forward to it. I have listened, I have heard them, but I have never actually met them.
Yeah. Well, don't make him mad. He'll go over there and punch you, believe me.
Oh, I've seen his Twitter rants, so I'm ready for him.
Pro, any final thoughts from you?
You know, it's interesting when you hear Hayden Hurst because people have to understand he actually came in, as I can figure, as an overgrown wide receiver. I think he played some of that in high school. And, of course, I think part of him coming to USC was not only the struggles in the minors, but I think Perry Orth knew him from high school and got him to look at USC. But the key thing you want to see from him this year, Corn, is to show some nastiness as a receiver. I think last year he was learning how to get guys off of him by using his strength and his long arms. And I think he learned that as the season went on. And I think you're going to see a tougher type of receiver who won't mind, getting in the linebacker's kitchen and going over the middle and just say, pardon me as I go by you. And I think he's learned to use his hands and arms to ward off guys, similar to a forward would do when boxing out a guy when he's trying to rebound.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody have a great night. Tomorrow, of course, we'll have the All-SEC preseason stuff, the All-ACC preseason stuff as well. Jarmart will be in studio along with Teddy and Rick. So everybody should have a great time. They'll carry on what we do here every night on Sports Talk. Thank you, Pat Daniel, for doing a great job behind the scenes. And we will personally, myself, see you on Monday. Everybody else, have a great night, and they'll see you tomorrow. We appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Hello. Hi.